Today's episode of Northern Lights is presented by North Star Law Group, a trusted partner for small businesses in Minnesota's legal cannabis industry. Whether you've already applied for a license or just getting started, attorney Jen Riza and her team can help you build a compliant business, identify and navigate risks, put together an application, and keep you informed about the ever-changing Minnesota cannabis landscape. Are you ready to add North Star to your team? Visit northstarlaw.com/cannabis and let North Star Law Group guide you through confidently opening your doors. Again, that's northstarlaw.com/cannabis. Keeping track of your grow doesn't have to be a hassle. Meet Plant Track. That's PLNTRK, a tool built by Minnesota growers for growers like you. Track every stage of your plant with intuitive progress bars for each phase. Stay on top of your grow with text reminders for watering, feeding, and photos. And when it's time to log data, it couldn't be easier. Just scan a QR code or tap an NFC tag to instantly access your plant's details and updates. You can even log your interactions for one or all your plants in just seconds. Ask detailed questions with the AI chat powered by your plant's data and get the help that you need when you need it. It's free for up to 8 plants. Go to www.plntrk.com now and start tracking your grow. Are you a social equity applicant trying to save money on LED grow lights? Then here's some good news for you. You could get up to 75% off your lighting project, covered entirely by rebates, when you team up with a local nonprofit, Center for Energy and Environment. Since 2000, CEE has provided free energy consulting to Xcel Energy customers throughout Minnesota. Their team of lighting experts will help you get the highest rebates possible and take care of the paperwork so you don't have to. Starting a grow operation can be overwhelming, so take advantage of this free support from CEE. Go to mncee.org/GrowLED to sign up for your free consultation and find out how much you can save with lighting rebates. Again, that's mncee.org/GrowLED. Go get signed up today. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Northern Lights. I'm your host, Tanner, joined today by Steve. How's it going, man?
Hey, I'm here. I'm happy. I'm feeling good. Thankful for the Dabbler Depot and Dabbler Depot Studios.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's always good to be back. I mean, I feel like we start every episode with that, but it's such a comfortable space that we've really made this place home. It's fun to see the shelf of products change. If you're on the audio version, check us out on YouTube. You can see what our shelf looks like. We've got products. We've got a fish. We've got maybe a little Yoda. I don't know. But check out the feed and you can see it. But
and thanks to all our new YouTube subscribers. Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah. Jordan, how are you doing today?
Doing awesome. Feeling very light, feeling very airy, feeling ready to hear what you guys got, but also I got something for you guys.
See, and that's, all right, well, let's just right into it. I've never felt more nervous coming into a recording session because generally I have a piece of paper in front of me that says, hey, Tanner, here's what you're talking about today. And I really like that as a teacher. I really like to have a lesson plan. And now we're at the point where I'm being told, you made a game for us. Mm-hmm. It's not on my piece of paper.
It's not your day today, Tanner.
And it's just going to be
What is the game called?
Wow, we've got sound effects.
Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Pot Culture Trivia.
Man's in his bag.
The game where we put our heads together.
Okay.
You guys are working as a team.
All right.
I have collected a collection, as they say, of different pieces of media, cinema, music, television, that all have very clear ties to the cannabis world, the cannabis culture.
Okay.
I am going to be describing these different pieces in the most vaguely specific way I possibly can. And I want you two to
put our heads together
and try to come up with if you can find what this piece of media is.
Okay.
So with each prompt, there is going to be 3 clues, if you need them, that are descending in or I guess ascending in specificity. So the first clue is going to be still pretty vague.
Okay.
The last clue is going to be almost just a giveaway.
Talk about production value. I mean, you're putting my games to shame.
No, I'm not.
I had an envelope with a piece of paper.
You walk so I could run.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
it's true. Producer Jordan.
Hey, and I got all the buttons. I might as well use them. You know?
Yeah, I'm thinking Colonel Mustard, Alex Trebek, Norm McDonald. I'm ready for these games.
Okay. So the way this is going to go is I have 3 categories.
Okay.
They're all, and I'll tell you, it's film and cinema, it's music, and then television. Okay. And each one has, 3 to 4 different prompts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will read them. If you guys need me to read them again, I'll read them again. But I think we'll just dive in to the first round. All right.
Absolutely, I'm ready.
All right.
wow.
All right. So our first category today, film and cinema. Okay.
Okay.
So we're talking movies. And I guess I'll just jump into the prompt.
Let's
Ready?
go.
All right. A scholarly journey through the final hours of institutionalized learning in the 1970s, where various initiations, aerosols, and philosophical musings about aliens take center stage. Is there a guess? Already.
All right. I do have one guess, but I mean, do you have any idea?
No.
Steve,
All right.
no idea?
No idea yet, but it's
So if I'm getting the movie right, one of my favorite parts about this movie is you watch it and you're like, wow, this was filmed in the 70s. It feels so much like it. And you look and it was released, I believe, in the 90s. And it's just such a great callback to an older time. And it's crazy that 90s are further away from today than But I think this is Blazed and Confused, or is that correct?
That is correct.
All
Tanner.
right.
All right. That is 1-0.
That is
guys.
a classic.
Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, Dazed and Confused.
Dazed
Thank you. Yeah, highly recommend.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah,
You guys
I'm
got
excited.
okay. That was an easy one. I gave you softball, the first one.
So
All
that
right.
movie was filmed in the 70s and came out in the 90s?
No.
No.
It was filmed as if it was the 70s, but in the 90s.
Okay.
And I remember watching it as like a teenager and thinking like, this was filmed in the 70s. This is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And realizing later on, no. These are all actors that were in the 90s.
Right.
We've got a young stoner in the room. Do you know that movie? Are you aware of that one? Yeah. All right. Cool. So the kids still know about it. That's cool.
That's good to know. All right, moving on to the second movie.
Okay.
A botanic connoisseur and his reluctant deliverymen embark on a chaotic odyssey after stumbling upon a rare horticultural specimen that inadvertently entangles them with men of violence and corruption.
Oh, I think I'm stumped on this one.
If you need a clue, or I can read it again.
Yeah, I'll take it one more time.
All right, here we go.
with the clue. With the
All right.
with the clue.
A botanic connoisseur and his reluctant deliveryman embark on a chaotic odyssey after stumbling upon a rare horticultural specimen that inadvertently entangles them with men of violence and corruption. And the first clue,
All right. Yeah.
a rare botanical specimen sets off a chain reaction of paranoia and violence, which again doesn't give much away, but I need to toe the line.
Paranoia and
Is
violence.
this Blow?
Oh, all right. Unfortunately, not Below. Good guess, though. Good guess. Can we have the next clue? Is that okay?
Yes, the next clue. It's a stoner action movie with explosions, corrupt cops, and an unhinged dealer named Red.
Okay. Red got me.
Okay. What is it?
This is such a classic. Is this Pineapple Express?
This is
All right.
Pineapple
Yeah.
Express. Yes, great. All right, you guys are so far cruising. Tanner,
Wow.
Steve.
You know the kids love Pineapple Express.
Yeah. I remember sort of around the time when that movie came out, and if someone was selling you weed, it was crazy. It turned out to be Pineapple Express, and it was $20 more.
Oh yeah,
But,
dude, I got the good. I got the best stuff you've had.
Yeah, I've got the Snickle Fritz. Whatever. All right. Give me
All right, you guys ready for the next one? All right.
We were getting shamed in the studio.
I know. No, yeah. Our in studio audience got it immediately.
Yeah.
So, all right. A laid-back philosopher and his companions navigate the treacherous waters of mistaken identity, nihilist aggression, and the ethical complexities of bowling, all while seeking restitution for a soiled carpet.
All right.
Do you need it again?
I think the bowling part
He's got
I'm linked to, but let's hear it one more time.
Or I think,
And then-
Tanner, you have it. I can just give the clue. We don't
I'm
need
going to be
read-
so embarrassed if I get this wrong, though, but this is the Big Lebowski, right? All right. Oh, I was nervous there. The bowling part had me hooked, but
I think this game's got legs.
yeah, I like this. What was the easiest clue for that one? I'm curious.
That one is just the dude abides.
Okay, all right. Yeah. That's
Like I
Dude
said,
does
the
abide.
clue 3 just basically gives every single thing away.
I dig it though. Wow.
Page turn.
Here we go. That
All
was,
right. Your final prompt for this category in film and cinema.
Okay.
A team of mustachioed enforcers of the law struggle to maintain their jurisdiction over a sleepy highway while engaging in mind games, syrup consumption, and a questionable approach to traffic stops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we know this one.
You're gonna get it right, meow.
Give it to him, Tanner. What is it?
This, I believe, the classic, incredible film, Super Troopers.
Super Troopers.
All right, yeah, there we go.
That's the one, folks.
Oh,
That's
the
one.
drinking of maple syrup part. My favorite fact about that movie is that they tried a bunch of other substances that like looked similar, but weren't able to. So that scene, they're drinking real maple syrup, and I assure you guys, when we do the dab on the show, it's not just fake weed. We're doing real dabs. It's the real maple syrup.
And that's a Tanner fun fact.
There we go. We've got sound effects. I don't know. Yeah.
Let me get back into this. I need TV. I need TV now.
You want to? Okay,
all right, we're
TV
jumping.
is my third category, but I can do another quick page turn. And
All right. We're turning.
here we go.
We're flipping.
We're flipping to page 3 rather than page 2.
Television.
I'm not on the board. I gotta find a way on the board.
And it's okay because again, you guys are working as a team.
Right.
This is a group building exercise. All right, and our next category is television.
This is so good.
So, our first prompt. A group of gangly youths regularly convene in a subterranean sanctuary to engage in circular discourse on life's mysteries, all while evading parental authority and occasionally stumbling into employment.
Workaholics.
Oh, all right. That was a good guess, though. That was really, really a good guess. Because I was thinking the same thing. They're going around to their lair. They're occasionally going to work, but not often.
Do you want a clue number 1?
Yeah, let's do the first
All right.
one.
Sorry. Basement wisdom, generational disapproval, and an ever-present haze.
All right. This is a show where, like, some of them went on to become, what's that cult?
I've
Now
been
I'm
waiting.
forgetting the name of
I've been waiting for Danny.
Scientology.
Danny
Yeah.
Mastermind.
Finally made it onto the show.
Yeah.
Wow. You got to give this one. I think.
Are we on That 70s Show?
There we go.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
we are. We are hanging
Wow.
out in what is it, Milwaukee or some
Point Place, Wisconsin.
Point Place,
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Which came up as I was thinking about Dazed and Confused.
Mm-hmm.
Another show that was in the 70s, but
Yeah.
filmed in a later time. Not quite as good as Dazed and Confused.
And another show that the filming of that show was closer to the 70s than we are to the filming of that show.
Tanner, shut up.
Sorry. No. We're not old.
No.
Did you guys see that 80s show with Glenn from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Is it not that 90s show? Or
that
is it,
90s show, maybe?
I think
it was another
I think
decade.
They skipped. Yeah, I think they skipped the 80s because we all skipped the 80s.
Yeah, historically
Nobody-
terrible decade.
The 80s didn't exist.
When I was young, and the show that makes me feel old is I would go over to my neighbor's house in Plymouth, and they would be watching Tool Time with Tim Allen.
Yeah.
And that's one of those shows that was like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Oof.
I hope to be somebody's Wilson one day, you know? Everybody needs a Wilson.
Is that the
and
fence mate?
It's the guy that it's always just like this, you know? Well, you know, he just gives advice even though nobody ever asks for it, but it's usually pretty good advice.
Yeah.
I could see you fitting that role really well.
I'm ready. I just need a taller fence.
We'll build you one.
All right. Are we ready for our next television show?
Here we go. Next television.
All right. A group of chronic underachievers dedicate equal energy to professional stagnation and extracurricular inebriation, blending office hijinks with backyard escapades while avoiding any real semblance of responsibility.
So here's what I think is funny. Maybe all weed TV shows, when broken down to their core essence, are all sort of the same. Because that's also sort of the description of that 70s show. And also sort of the description of the show that you said right before this. But it could also be the description of so many. What do you think with that one? That I feel like that's
I
the
think
workaholics
I think it triggered workaholics for Tanner, and
Yeah.
I'll support that. Yes.
All right,
yes,
there we go. We
correct.
got it. We got it.
Yeah, we got there.
I'm glad you said that one, because otherwise, if you wouldn't have said that last round, I would have heard that and been like,
What is it?
office hijinks. Like, they didn't. There was one weed episode in The Office, and it wasn't even that good.
Yeah.
What is this?
But when that show
Northern
came out,
Lights Indica.
yeah, that show, I feel like the new episodes came out in the summer, and that was just perfect timing for that show. It was kids out of school wanting to watch a cannabis lifestyle like that.
Yeah. I remember it's fun going through the ages of watching that show when I was younger and thinking, like, this is really what I strive to be. And now watching that show and just like feeling worried for them. Like, you guys okay?
Right. But those guys are plenty fine.
Oh,
a
they're
lot of
doing
them,
fine
a lot
today,
of them
yeah.
have gone on to have big careers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just like us, maybe.
Yeah, that's going to be us someday. That started as a podcast.
Here we
as
go.
a web show or something.
Comedy Central.
Yeah, reach out.
Here we come. All right, our next prompt.
Here we go.
An aimless matriarch discovers that horticultural entrepreneurship is a viable means of sustaining her family. Though as her operation grows, so do the complications, attracting both wealth and law enforcement scrutiny.
Nancy Botwin. Great show. Had a run. Had a few seasons that were undefeated.
Yeah. Talk about a show that should have ended like halfway through.
Yeah.
Season 1 and 2, I agree with you. Like, probably led to me working in the industry today. Part of that influence of just being so inspired by like, wow, weed can be really cool and how you get it around to people in this whole market. And then you get to the end of that show, she's like part of some Mexican drug lord who's also elected to president, I believe.
Yeah.
And then she's still selling weed to like this one town.
Yeah. Little boxes on the hillside.
Yeah, I remember
Ticky-tacky.
one episode where a bunch of weed accidentally spilled out in a pool. And they were like, don't worry, throw it in the dryer. We can dry it and make hash out of it. And thinking today, like, holy shit, people were doing chlorine dabs. Like, that's not good. And so, yeah.
What are we talking about, though?
Lay it on.
Oh my God. What is the name of that show?
Starts with a W.
Starts
E-E-D.
with weed. Weeds.
There we
Simple
go.
as that.
Well done. You guys are
Yeah.
1,000% right now.
All right, we're doing good.
Yeah.
We're doing good.
Yeah.
We got to ask the youngling in the studio. Have you seen Weeds? Do you know that show? No? Oh, shit. Okay. All right. Well, it's a good one.
When I got out of college, I had my laptop and I would go on to like a third-party site and find it because it was an HBO show. And so once it was over, unless you had HBO, you couldn't really like find it anywhere. But the main character was Nancy Botwin. And the first 2 seasons are really good.
Yeah, highly recommend. No, it's about this woman who her husband dies, and she's like, how the fuck do I support my family in this like picture-perfect neighborhood with all these expenses? And she learns, I can sell weed to all these other people in this picture-perfect neighborhood and make a lot of money. And
It's good.
yeah.
I think I've described it as like a cuter version of Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
It's like
is.
that. It's like kind of like how Pocahontas is like Dances with Wolves. It's like we're singing the same song here. Like it's the same kind of plot points, but in totally different fonts.
And then I think it started as a Showtime show and then got bought by HBO. Because I
Oh.
remember the amount of sex in the later seasons went up significantly.
Oh,
And,
wow. Yeah.
Shout out HBO. Wow. Yeah, weeds. That's a good one.
Did you just say because you thought you were about to drive the next point of this podcast?
I did. Yeah. I went to go do the transition and realized my paper doesn't help me.
It's producer Jordan, bitch.
Oof.
We've got 2 more in our television segment, and then we have a whole nother section, but we can
This is a great show.
attack that if
I
we
like
want
that.
to. All right. We're getting a little more niche.
Okay.
now. All right, folks. Okay. A 2-wheeled philosopher traverses the city, delivering both herbal remedies and glimpses into the intimate, often bizarre lives of an eclectic clientele. Each episode revealing a new perspective on urban existence.
A 2-wheeled
Philosopher.
who makes his way around the city. I've got to hand it over to Tanner and hear what he thinks.
Yeah, so I went through this period, late high school, early college, where I was just absorbing all cannabis media that I could. Just anything out there that was about cannabis culture. I just wanted to soak it up. And this show I remember stumbling upon when it had just transitioned from a web show to an HBO show. And realizing like, wow, this is a show about weed, but it's not. It's about all the people that buy weed from the same guy. And this one guy going through his day, just trying to sell weed to people of New York and having people threaten him or try to steal his money, or more so, like try to hang out with him, or like,
Even worse.
yeah, go get dinner, or like, dude, I'm just trying to sell you some weed and get out on my bike. And
I've seen this show, but
yeah.
just a couple of times.
highly recommend. You're talking about high maintenance, is that correct? Yeah. It's a good one. Another show that has a lot of sex in it that I went to go show my wife sometime is like, hey, check out this show. It's really funny. We put it on the first episode, a lot of fighting, a lot of sex. And I'm like, no, it's good. Trust me.
That's awkward. Yeah.
yeah. And she's like, it's fine.
Right.
And I also love how some episodes, not all the time, but the writers sometimes get the lives of the clientele intertwined, whether it's like butterfly effect or like full on like, yeah, my taxi splashed you on the side. Like it could be like super direct or like super like I yelled at somebody who then 8 hours later like was in a hurry and like made somebody like it's like a very like intertwined story. So yeah, high maintenance on HBO.
Such a good premise that like just won't be as possible decades from now of like,
because
this
that
show
guy
it's just about the minutes before and the minutes after that he showed up to sell weed. And like, that doesn't, if you did that in a dispensary, it would just be like a security camera. Like it's not anything that exciting. This is, you get to interact with all these aspects of people's lives that you don't if you're selling gummies today, and that's for sure.
And that's why MedMen is no longer with us.
Yeah. Shout out MedMen.
One of my favorite things about the shit, I just had the thought, it lost.
Oh, classic stoner moment.
Yeah.
We got to keep this in. We're keeping it in.
What was it? Oh yeah. One of my favorite things about the show though is that the main character basically through like all of season 1 and most of season 2, you don't even know his name because he's just the guy or my guy or our guy. Like he's just,
It's good writing.
but he's the main character. He's in every single scene. He like, I just love that element of story writing.
Was that on like a premium channel as well?
Yeah, that was HBO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I've seen that.
Back during the time when if you wanted weed on like a public network, it had to be anti-weed. You couldn't have a show that showed people using weed and not have it be like a PSA.
Wow, the subliminal stigma that exists, it's worth pointing out.
Yeah.
I think we're showing our early days of torrenting right now, Steve. I've never had HBO in my life.
Because
Don't come after me.
But yeah, all these shows, they were all on Pirate Bay. It's crazy.
Pirate
how,
Bay, God,
just so helpful.
Yeah.
All right, and our final prompt for
God, it was
television.
Pirate Bay. Thank you, Pirate Bay.
In a small, quirky town where small talk is an art form, a diverse group of fast-talking residents debate life's most pressing concerns, including produce-based currency, scrapping etiquette, and the finer points of recreational indulgence.
Can I get an era or maybe just a clue?
I would call it modern day.
Okay.
All right. I think I'm going to need a clue too. Yeah, I'm sort of stumped on this one.
All right, dipping in. Clue number 1.
Dippin' Dots.
Small town wisdom delivered at breakneck speed.
Small town wisdom. Breakneck speed.
It is basically just kind of how the show is written.
They're fast talkers.
The show is made up of extremely well-written and intentional one-liners, basically. It is just one-liners back and forth.
I mean, Philadelphia is not a small town, but that's as close as I can get to a guess right now.
All right.
I think I'm going to need another clue.
All right. This town is made up mostly of skids, hicks, and hockey players who all walk into a bar.
Is this trailer trash?
So I was going to guess Trailer Park Boys, but not because I've seen much of this show, but just I don't know what else to guess.
Small town Winnipeg or something like that. Yeah. I'm going to go I'm with Tanner.
Fuck. That's a disappointing sound.
I think there's a lot of people on the internet who would be like, "Oh yeah, you're talking about that show, right?" But no, we're talking a little more. I haven't seen Trailer Park Boys either. But this show.
Give me 3 CPO.
All right, here comes clue 3PO. Quote: "Pitter patter, let's get at her."
Are you with this? Okay, I'm gonna phone a friend.
All right, go ahead, phone a friend.
All right, so we had our friend in the audience. Is it Letterkenny? Oh my God, it was! Wow. All right, so this is so embarrassing. I have a friend who told me you should watch that show, and I told him, yeah, I totally did.
You told him you did?
Yeah, I should watch that show. That sounds like it's good.
So yeah, that was a show I was involved. Like I was in on it, like when it was a YouTube show in like 2013, 14.
Wow.
And then it got picked up by some network, and now Hulu is all over it. So
really?
And now Shoresy, there's an offshoot kind of. It's called Shoresy. Also,
okay.
It's great. It's a great show. Very, like I said, breakneck speed. Like all the dialogue is just pop, 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 pop. It's okay. It's pretty rhythmic. Yeah. Anyway.
Never heard of it.
I'll have to check it out. It's on Netflix. I know that much. Or it was on Netflix?
I think it's on
Hulu. Oh, shoosh. All right. Well, not on Netflix, on Hulu.
Also probably maybe Peacock.
And probably, let's be real, probably the Pirate Bay as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
This episode
brought to you by
I want to be on the Pirate Bay.
Yeah. I think we could probably just upload these episodes ourselves on there just to
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
Support the Northern Lights podcast across all Northern Lights
on the Pirate Bay. All right. Well, so we've got one more category. Do we want to? Should we do the final category?
All right. Let's get through it.
I'm excited to see what we got.
So before the episode, I ran this whole thing by Kale, and I definitely was like, I feel like Steve's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting on this section because of the same reason you just said.
Yeah, I'm not really a pop music guy.
Right.
I really like listening to Northern Lights podcast, but I don't really listen to a lot of modern day music per se.
Our first prompt for our music category. So remember, these are all songs. I don't need artist names. I'm just looking for a song title here.
Okay.
But if you want to sing, if you want to name the artist, go for it. Okay.
Do we get extra points if we perform it?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Welcome to Northern Lights, where everything's made up and the points don't matter. That's right. Just like the director of the OCM.
I like it.
I'm here for it. Yeah. Yeah. Saw him on camera the other day. Let's go.
All right. Prompt number 1. A series of increasingly unfortunate life decisions, each directly correlated to a certain herbal indulgence, unfolds in a rhythmic confession that ultimately culminates in existential resignation.
It's interesting hearing a song be described in words.
Because you got to think about lyrics. I am not a lyrics guy. I'm listening to music for music and like vibes. Like I won't know the name of a song for like 15 years after hearing it for the first But I can sing you the chord progression. All right.
Give me a clue.
All right. The first clue. Clue number 1. A tragic tale of lost motivation told in the form of a catchy confession.
I love it, but it's so vague.
Clue number 2. A laundry list of personal failures, all blamed on a single indulgence.
Oh, no.
I was gonna clean my room.
And then I got high. Afro Man.
Yes. Yes. Extra points for Afro Man.
Yep.
You know, when I was in 7th grade driving to, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin with my dad.
I love that lake.
And I wanted to play that song on the radio louder than it was being played. He didn't really like that.
That's crazy.
7th grade.
Go figure.
Go figure.
Go figure.
So the line, I was going to fuck my wife until I got high, he didn't like blasting through the speakers? I don't understand.
And the funny thing is the radio version of that song is so different than the explicit version, but like they just gap it.
I didn't know there was a radio version. This
I
is
honestly
news to me.
didn't even know there was an explicit version.
When it came out, I was in 7th grade, so I heard it on the radio. Yeah, no, that song made the radio.
I can't picture that song being played on the radio.
Welcome back to KDWB 101.3. Just remember, ladies drink for free till 11.
Yeah, I remember those tropics and, but yeah, dollar drinks. No, because I got high 2001, it was, and it was just gaps of bars that they just couldn't sing.
That's so good. Wow. Yeah, because I really, there are entire chunks of that song. And I'm like, there's no Wednesday to Friday on this. This is gone.
Great. Honestly, you had us stumped there, but
yeah,
what a classic!
Wow,
I'm trying to find the balance between like being vague but being pretty like flavorful in how
this
vague I can.
This
be.
is a game show.
All right, here we go.
Yeah,
our prompt number 2 for music. An individual's daily routine is structured around a symmetrical and methodical inhalation ritual, passed down through familial wisdom and reinforced by an unwavering commitment to relaxation.
Yes. I'm sure I love the song. It's hard for me to know what it is. Can you repeat it?
I can repeat it, yes. An individual's daily routine is structured around a symmetrical and methodical inhalation ritual, passed down through familial wisdom and reinforced by an unwavering commitment to relaxation.
I'm thinking it's like Cypress Hill.
So I know the ritual you're talking about, but I don't know the song. You're talking about which way do you pass? You pass to the left, but
Okay.
what is that? What is that song?
Are we talking about past the duchy on the left-hand side? Is that what you're thinking
I
of?
think so.
Right.
But I don't.
Right.
I don't know that song. Okay. No.
No,
All right.
yeah.
Not that one. All right, we're gonna need more clues. I'm really stumped on this one.
I'll take a clue, please.
Clue number 1. A time-based ritual encouraged by wisdom both parental and musical. Clue number 1's always a toughie. I'm not going to give it to you.
Which is fair, but I'm picturing the people at home just getting upset listening.
They're screaming at their headphones.
like, you idiot. This
Genre, I'm thinking like West Coast hip hop.
Ooh,
No.
ooh, not West Coast hip hop.
Okay.
Sheesh.
More clues, please.
All right, clue number 2. The ultimate philosophy for handling life's highs and lows, literally.
Yeah, the ultimate
Oh
philosophy.
my God, I'm stumped on this one.
All right, and
Does our
here-
studio audience have any idea?
The ultimate philosophy.
I will give you a bonus hint before I sing out or before I say actual lyrics. I would put this in the 90s ska realm.
Oh, I like 90s ska.
90s ska. And it's a stoner. Okay.
Let me find Spotify real quick.
Oh my God.
I think we can play a few seconds of it.
At least 5 and no more than 15, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
All right, I will say the lyrics and then I'll play the song. All right.
Yeah.
Quote, I smoke 2 joints before I smoke 2 joints, and then I smoke 2 more.
Sublime.
Yeah.
Smoke 2 joints.
It's in the morning. Ah, man.
And that's enough before we get sued.
Embarrassing. Yeah, I've definitely listened to that song before while trimming weed.
Great song.
But man, didn't
saw it live
wasn't able
at
to try that one.
Milwaukee's Music Fest.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
whatever it's called.
Well, I think that's the first one you guys have actually gotten wrong. So
All right, that's okay.
done.
That's okay. We're gonna bounce back. Bounce back.
Well done.
We got a couple more, right?
Yeah, we got just
Opportunity?
2 more to come back.
Sheesh.
All
All right.
We're not big joint guys.
No.
All right.
Smoke 2 dabs in the morning.
Smoke 2 dabs at night.
Yep. Do a couple over my lunch break, and then maybe some in the afternoon too.
And then I feel all right.
Yeah, there you go. I think we're on to another hit. We won a Grammy. People don't know this. We were nominated for a Grammy, season 1, for a song that we produced and came out with. We could get nominated for another Grammy. That podcast Grammy category, really, really tiny. And you just gotta have a podcast to make a song, and you can get nominated. So this could be our hit.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
All right. Our next prompt.
All right.
Promo.
We're gonna roll the clock back just a little bit, okay?
Okay.
That's your bonus prompt, all right?
All right.
A bittersweet lament of a fleeting romance, or possibly an ode to a certain botanical muse, where a lone wanderer bids farewell to something that once brought joy, but now drifts into the ether. Clue number 1. A bittersweet farewell, but to a person or to something else.
All right. Let's get another clue in here. People, your headphones aren't broken. There's just long pauses of silence as we think.
Yeah, bittersweet symphony. No idea.
Nope.
All
I'm
right.
not even gonna
Don't
go
even,
to the beat.
Don't even do that.
A song about lost love or maybe a different kind of goodbye.
Irish goodbye.
This is for the classic rock fans out there. I'll throw that there.
It's not that it's an unpopular song. It's just I'm having a really hard time picturing it.
All right. The lyrics begin the first line. She grew up in an Indiana town.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Tom Petty. Yeah. Last Dance.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't
Last
want them
Dance
coming
with
out.
Mary
All right. Yeah. Wow.
All right. I'm gonna.
We gotta. Yeah. We didn't get that one.
Needed a couple.
Jordan, what is the song name? Will
The
you
song is
put us out of our
called
misery?
Mary Jane's Last Dance
There we go.
by Tom Petty and then his
One
gang
more
of
dance for
heartbreakers.
Mary.
Yep, exactly.
Jeez. All right.
All right. And our final prompt for the game, pot culture.
I'm feeling good.
All right. A declaration of dominance from West Coast architects of rhythm, culminating in a timeless directive for perpetual herbal appreciation, punctuated by the unmistakable sound of a whistle.
Ooh, whistle. West Coast whistle. Too short? Blow the whistle?
West Coast whistle.
Architects.
Clue number 1.
Yeah.
A sequel to a legacy marked by a famous final line.
Okay. I think I have a guess for this one. Only because of the final line part. Is this The Chronic with the final line? Smoke weed every day.
The Chronic 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah. It's the one and only STEVE.
So, editor note, that song is called The Next Episode.
The next episode. Thank you.
By
From
Dr.
The
Dre
Chronic is the album.
and
Yeah,
Snoop
yeah.
Dogg.
2001.
Yeah,
Dr.
wow.
Dre, Snoop Dogg.
So anyway,
A lot happened in 2001.
thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks once again for playing Pot Culture here
That was such a good game, Jordan. Wow. Holy crap.
here in the Zen Den.
Wow. Well, I'm curious, people that are watchers, listeners, how many of those did you get? Were you angrily shouting at your phone as we just couldn't get those last few? Drop it in the comments below. We want to know. That was a good game, Jordan.
If this was MySpace, I'd have some of those songs on my profile. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take some load off the original Game Meister's plate here. So
If
No,
I
that
could
was so good.
elaborate on pot culture, I'm even seeing it on this nice glass board where we have this trivia pot culture, and we're selecting Because this window is amazing.
We just turn the
I want
whiteboard
to see you
into-
in a suit, standing in front of this board, sort of
Yes.
pointing up vaguely towards it.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was thinking about just bringing in a change of clothes and doing a hard cut.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, all right, you guys ready for a game? And then you're like, yeah. And then it cuts back to me in full suit. And I was like, you know what? That's just one step too far. I don't care that much.
You're dressed like Jeff Daniels in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, just powder blue.
Powder blue suit.
So,
That was a great game. That
Thanks for
definitely
playing.
needs to make a comeback for sure.
I'm feeling warmed up now.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
round 2 coming season 3.
Whew.
Well, I feel like a winner.
You guys definitely won. Yeah, percentage wise, I'd say that's a 86%.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah, that's
Actually,
real
probably
good.
closer to 90 if we're doing math. I'm not good at math, but I'd say 90%.
You know, I graduated college, and the classes that I got a C- in counted as just as many credits as the ones that I got A's in. So I'm feeling like we batted 100% on that one, baby. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
We live to see another day.
Another day. Well, let's take a quick break, and then when we get back, we've got some news to jump into. That's probably going to be a little bit less from the game, but we'll be right back. Attention Northern Lights listeners. Whether you're growing cannabis indoors or outdoors, organically or hydroponically, Eco Garden Supply has the tools to help you succeed. From premium organic nutrients to advanced hydro systems, they've got everything you need to cultivate like a pro at home. Head to ecogardensupply.com now or visit them in person at 800 Transfer Road, Suite 3, St. Paul, Minnesota 55114 and elevate your cannabis. Eco Garden Supply. Growing supplies for the serious grower. Ever felt like running a cannabis business means running in circles just to get basic banking? Union Bank and Trust gets it. They've been helping cannabis businesses for over 10 years, solving problems like securing accounts, managing cash flow, and navigating regulations. No more jumping through hoops, no more runarounds. Just straightforward banking solutions built on trust, integrity, and performance. Check out unionbankandtrust.com today. That's unionbankandtrust.com.
Did you know that 70% of businesses fail in the first 10 years? And the number one reason they fail is because they run out of cash. Hi, I'm Dave Woodbeck. I'm the managing partner of Dope CFO. At Dope CFO, we help cannabis business owners beat the odds by providing financial leadership. Yes, we handle bookkeeping, accounting, and taxes, just like any accountant. But as one CEO recently told me, the last thing I need is another accountant. I need a partner who can help me achieve financial success. So take the first step towards financial success. Scan the QR code now to start your free self-assessment.
Hemp House is celebrating 420 early, and they're doing it big. Join them Saturday, April 19th for the first annual 420 Northeast Block Party. That's right outside their brand new Northeast Minneapolis shop. It's an all-day event, 21 plus, from 12 to 6 p.m. It's a full-on celebration of community, cannabis, and culture. Get free samples from 15 of Minneapolis' top THC drink makers. That's Trail Magic, Kite Soda, and Insight Brewing. Watch a bracket-style street skate showdown sponsored by After Hours Skate Shop. Munch on exclusive dishes from Rectangle Pizza, Herbivorous Butcher, and a custom THC-infused sundae by Bebe, Zito, and No Coast. That's No Coast Wellness. Shout out to Cody. VIPs get a gift bag loaded with local goodies, a tasting glass, and a limited edition koozie. It's fly. I saw it. Nathan showed it to me. Plus, grab exclusive merch like this Hemp House After Hours skate deck for only $42, and there's only 42 made. Don't sleep on this. It's all going down 12 to 6 p.m., April 19th, rain or shine. Tickets are at hemphouse.co. Early bird pricing won't last. You can learn more about the event at www.hemphouse.co.
There's a shirt I want to buy sold on White Person Fancy, Middle Class Fancy. There we go. Called Big Deck Energy. And
I know two people that own that.
I want to exude
Yeah.
Big Deck Energy.
Yeah. Oh, I could see Tanner having a big deck.
Yeah, just like people are looking, they're just like, wow, That's all deck? And I'm like, all deck, baby.
Yeah, Meg, I'll make it to 6 o'clock dinner. No problem.
We'll make it happen. Hey, we're back. All right, that was a great game, guys. I Jordan, compliments on that one. That was a fun one.
Thank you.
Pod culture.
Thank you.
Culture. We'll have to do that one again.
Do you get it? It's pop culture.
Okay.
You get it?
But then
Oh shit.
but then
okay.
with the cannabis,
Exactly. So pot is it kind of like there's some vernacular in the industry. Some people call cannabis pot.
That was a good one. I didn't pick up on that. That's no. All right, but let's get serious, guys. It was a busy week in terms of news. We're seeing not a ton of action out of OCM. They've been a little bit quiet. We did see them announce today that 80% of social equity applicants that submitted new information have now been moved forward to that approval process.
amazing.
So apparently it was maybe not the students, but the test.
So November
Yep.
to April,
Mm-hmm.
we're still in the social equity waiting room.
Yep.
But now there's more people in it.
Way more people in it. Yeah. So now we've got just over 530 social equity pre-approved micro businesses that have been told within the coming weeks, you're going to be opening your doors. And so now it's just sort of figuring out what is the order of steps that all of that will come in. And in the coming weeks, like two months from now, when we record sort of like our end of season wrap up, it's possible we might have stores starting to open.
Yeah.
Will they have freshly grown Minnesota product on the shelf? Maybe not, but
Native Care.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's get to it. So the biggest news piece that we saw from this week was from the legislative branch. We are back to Can Omnibus season. We've got that big omnibus bill, this time with Stevenson and surprise guest host, Representative Nolan West, coming out from right field, if you will. We've now got our first bipartisan cannabis bill coming out through this year in the session. Which
Look at the north suburbs running things in the cannabis space.
Truly coming in and saying, hey, remember that time that we updated the program last year? Let's do it again. And there's a big chunk of updates that were included in that. Now, some of the biggest one that people are calling out is creating a lower potency hemp wholesaler license, giving visiting patients the same rights as in-state patients. But it's really just a lot of sort of technical changes to the program to make it run a little bit smoother come day one.
Yeah. The one that I'm really worried about is the liquor lobby, the liquor wholesale, and the things going 3-tier. That is not addressed in this, is it?
So we see the introduction of that lower potency hemp edible wholesaler license in here. So what's interesting is when this bill was brought up in committee, there was some discussion on it the day before, but it moved through pretty unanimously without much debate. And it's because all of the components of this bill were debated or discussed in previous committees, and this is sort of the slamming of it all together.
Wow.
So we do have that wholesaler component written in here that would allow, like you said, some of those liquor wholesalers that were looking at the oncoming industry saying, oh shit, I really like selling hemp and I don't want to have to go through the rigmarole of getting this license.
Yeah.
Now having an opportunity to maybe continue doing what they're doing come licensure.
Sure. And I mean, excuse me, we had Opie Won on the show today from On Point CBD, On Point Foraging. Like a guy like Opie Won, right, who may wholesale low dose hemp products.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to have issues with these beverages having to move through Johnson Brothers, for example?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Opie, because his products are made locally in Minnesota, won't have as much of a problem with. It's more the people that sell products that are made in other jurisdictions, not under the OCM's control.
I see.
That would no longer be able to import those without that wholesaler license. So your Burnix or whatever liquor wholesaler.
Yeah.
You have been buying products, sure, from Minnesota people, but also, let's be real, from a lot of national brands.
Yeah.
This rule would say they can continue buying from national brands, which, if this doesn't pass, would have to stop come adult use licensure. They'd have to just buy from Minnesota wholesalers that have the ability to import from other states.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really a, I think there's hundreds of people in the industry. There's hundreds of opinions on this bill.
Yeah.
That one in particular, I think especially on the beverage production and the alcohol side, they're looking at that and going, this is great. This is exactly what I want.
Okay.
You also have people that are the Minnesota producers that are looking at this and saying, you're going to have people from other states operating under other rules, just being able to ship things into Minnesota. Not in love with that part. But
and just to play a little bit of, ping and pong, like
absolutely.
The bill would remove the requirement that beverages with no more than 10 milligrams of THC be labeled as 2 servings. And I'm understanding that the guise of this is that it'll fit in better with other states' requirements.
Exactly.
But then packaging-wise, would it really be identical outside of that one other thing?
And that's the part where, like, sure, the product itself is compliant, meaning that, like, the 10 milligrams inside of that beverage you could have in Minnesota. But you and I both know there's so many other rules to make a compliant product beyond just, is a milligrams the right amount?
State by state.
Exactly. So will it bring Minnesota closer to that national trend?
Oh.
Perhaps.
Okay.
But will it allow products to come into Minnesota under the guise of legal? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. What else did you find interesting in the omnibus?
Yeah. So on the medical side, if you're a patient, you're really looking for more protections, especially as adult use is further expanded out. This requires people that are on both the medical and the adult use side to prioritize selling to medical patients, which as of today is like recommended. You have to have part of your grow just for med, but it's not required that if you have 2 people in your shop, you're choosing the med patient over the adult use.
In the case, for example, that some strains may sell out.
Exactly. Yeah. We're looking at that medical prioritization. And we're seeing the, it's like visitation rights. If you're a med patient in Illinois or New York or whatever, you come here, you could buy a med product in our med program because you're registered as a medical patient in California or wherever.
Or the ability to go onto tribal land.
Exactly.
As a medical cannabis patient.
Yep.
Or off tribal land to, a Vireo or a Green Goods. Yeah.
We're seeing, I think, Minnesota lawmakers look at that like bigger picture of the national landscape and say, how do we get Minnesota to better fit into this bubble? Is that good for the Minnesota industry? I don't know. But it definitely is bringing us closer to that national standard.
Sure.
Yep. And then there was another thing that I want to throw in that I think is really interesting that we talked about in the past. You're a local town. You've got your muni. You're selling hemp products there. You're probably thinking this is great. The town of St. Anthony, they have a monthly newsletter. Their local municipal shop every month talks about how THC sales are up. This has been incredible for us.
Huh. And that made the paper this week too, right?
It did.
Yeah.
And as it's written right now, if St. Anthony wants to go and get an adult use license, which they would be allowed to do, they'd have to stop selling at their liquor store. This allows them to have both that adult use and a municipal hemp-derived license, making them the only organization that could hold 2 licenses at the same time.
Interesting. And that's for every muni around.
Every single muni.
The munis are going to be the dope dealers.
That they will, for sure. Yeah, in fact, people should stick around to our conversation with Opie, because one of the things we were discussing was like, what is the future of hemp in Minnesota? And, Morgan, Minnesota might not be wanting a dispensary in town, but they probably have a liquor store that sells hemp. And will that continue to be the balance of you've got your dispos and liquor? Who knows?
Wow.
But could be fun. But there was one thing in particular that I thought was very interesting in terms of the testing side that's in this bill. So a lot of people have been concerned, will we have enough testing facilities? Will there be enough bandwidth to test all this product that's going to be grown and put on the shelf? They currently require people to be certified as an ISO lab. There's a specific type of certification. We won't get into technicalities.
Yeah.
But in essence, this change in the Canna Omnibus Bill would allow people to operate as a testing facility while they're seeking that certification. So they've applied, they've got their license in, they're seeking to become certified. They'd be able to start testing cannabis products, which I think is probably important as we're looking at the amount of products that will need to be tested day one.
Yeah.
I want there to be a lot of labs, and
there's
this
only
is one way to do it.
I don't want to say the wrong number, but I think 6 or...
Yeah, there was a shocking amount that applied during that first round.
Okay.
That is pretty concerning. So hopefully this is helping to alleviate that bandwidth if it ends up passing.
At least the onboarding part of
Exactly.
Standing it up.
Yeah, it'll help during the first couple of years. It probably won't make a huge difference 5 years from now. But during this on-ramp, could be an important part.
Jeez.
I don't know.
We don't even have like a single like name brand testing facility in our state right now.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Like SC Labs is a name brand testing
For sure.
facility.
Yeah. Yep. There are tons of nationally recognized hemp testing labs or cannabis testing labs. We've got nothing yet.
Nothing but hemp.
Nothing. Well, so I'm curious to see where that bill ends up going. People can follow along with our buddy, Dr. Clement Dabney. He's been posting a lot about this on social media in the Star Trib. So, yeah, that's all we got for that one right now. But as we continue to follow this through, the legislative Sasha's making, we will keep you all updated. Did you guys hear that there's tariffs?
What?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on this very briefly. We're not a political podcast, so we don't need to get into the news that I'm sure everyone is already sick of hearing. But there was a really interesting article in Reuters that talked about how tariffs are probably going to lead to more expensive weed.
Items such as tins, vape hardware, specialized glass.
Yep.
Things that are coming over from China, Asia,
Absolutely.
over halfway around the world.
Yeah, we've got hundreds, if not thousands of brands in Minnesota reaching out to potential packaging sources saying, hey, I'd love to buy a bunch of vape pens. What is that going to cost? And they send over the quote and they go, cool, I'm going to build that into my budget. We'll plan for it. I'm sure a lot of them have gotten emails over the past week or so saying, unfortunately, that's going to be a bit higher and hope you're ready for that.
And it doesn't go back to them.
No.
So take it up with the orange guy in Washington.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But so we don't talk about the cannabis stock market on here because it's insane. But we saw drops of upwards to 10% on one day from some of these companies because their margins are already so razor thin that having a 15-20% jump on your vape pens, that's going to be pretty tricky.
Buckle up, folks. It's home grow season.
Buckle up. And unfortunately, we talk a lot about how there are things that affect the legal market, but maybe not the legacy market. This is probably one of those things that will impact the legacy market because let's be real, the places that your hookup is buying their vape pen cartridges and that Vireo is buying their vape pen cartridges, not that much different from each other.
They were probably both at Lucky Leaf.
Yeah, probably were. And yeah, be ready for that. That's for sure. So never a better time to start growing at home than yesterday.
Yeah,
or, if not today.
Or 30 years ago.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, we're going to take a short break. When we get back, we got our interview with our buddy Opie. And then, of course, we've got our high notes. We'll be right back. Ready to kick off your home grow? We've got the perfect hookup for you. MinnesotaCannabisSeeds.com. They've got everything from fast-flowering strains to unique hybrids, all ready for growing in Minnesota. And guess what? Our listeners get an exclusive deal. Use the code NL10 for a 10% discount on your entire order. Don't miss out and get started with the best seeds. Start your growth strong with MinnesotaCannabisSeeds.com. Remember, NL10 for 10% off at MinnesotaCannabisSeeds.com. Grab your seeds today. And we're back here in the studio with Casey of Natural Harvest. How's it going, man?
Hey, Tanner. Thanks for having me back again.
Super happy to have you back in the studio. It is another month. It is April. We're getting so close to that outdoor season being real. And now it's another month, which means we got another seed box. Tell us, what do you have in store for us this month?
Yeah, so this month, exciting one, Northern Lights Auto.
What? You named a seed after us? No. I'm just kidding. No, a classic cultivar, Northern Lights Auto. That's awesome. That's a really, really cool one. I mean, not that you have to tell people what is Northern Lights like, but for people who maybe haven't tried the beverage, haven't ever smoked the weed before, haven't been exposed to that, what is Northern Lights?
Absolutely, yeah. Classic indica strain, kind of one of those everybody knows about. The auto variety is mixed with lowrider, so kind of get some of those genetics too. So
I love it. Yeah, I think you get a little bit of a berry woodsiness to it. Northern Lights is one of those cultivars that I keep coming back to. I haven't found a bad iteration of it yet, so I'm stoked. And an auto plant. For people who maybe have never grown an auto flower before, tell us a little bit, what is it that makes it that auto flower? What does that mean?
Sure. Yeah, the nice thing about the auto flower, it's a little bit easier. You don't have to worry about changing your light cycle. So you can just kind of go about, your normal grow and not really think about that. So it takes a step out of the equation, especially for new growers. Also, as we're going into the summer, a lot of good reasons, get something planted early here. Hopefully,
Yeah.
We have some good weather coming up. And another, real positive outcome is that if you do something early in an auto, you kind of avoid that cross pollination, right? Like all that ditchweed that's around there in October, you're going to be done like curing your plants already. So
yeah. And I feel like before we know it, it's going to be time for those plants to be outdoors. Where like, if you haven't started your seeds yet, really consider doing that now, because you want to be able to take advantage of that full season, not just get your seeds out and get a month or two.
Right. Yeah. And avoid some of those pests and deer and things like that. Rabbits that just like to munch on your plants when they're tiny little things. So
all of that.
A little bit bigger before they go out.
Totally. Well, like you were talking about earlier with the autoflower, I have a lot of friends that grow in the cities, maybe in their backyard close to others. Those photosensitive plants are great, but sometimes depending upon the lights around you are a bit more finicky. What's nice about those autos is you can just throw them out. Know that as long as the sun is doing its thing, the plant's going to be doing its thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, like in my neighborhood, everybody has a light over their garage and that thing's coming on all the time. Every time some, critter comes walking down the driveway or whatever, screwing up your light cycle. So yeah, it's the way to go.
Awesome. Well, so people have probably been listening. They're thinking already, oh, this is the seed I need to try. I've heard of Northern Lights. Now is my opportunity to grow it. Where would you recommend that people go to get those seeds?
Yeah, come check us out, MinnesotaCannabisSeeds.com.
Very cool. And people can get these, of course, in the seed pack. But you guys also have a monthly subscription. People can sign up for and get seeds delivered to their doorstep every month. Is that right?
Yeah, it's kind of a set it and forget it, right? Choose your level and wherever you want to be, and you'll get a new set of genetics every month.
That's awesome. I feel like I have so many unneeded subscriptions that every month it's I got to make sure to cancel that. This, however, is one of those that I feel like very, very important to have.
Yeah, never hit that cancel button.
Never. Well, and I heard even there's a rumor that for people looking to buy a pack of seeds, looking to buy a couple packs of seeds, maybe looking to do a pheno hunt or two, they could get a discount on seeds just by listening to this podcast, right?
Yeah, absolutely. NL10, and that'll get you a 10% discount.
Sweet. So we'll go to MinnesotaCannabisSeeds.com. I'll scroll through. I'll fill up my cart. I'll go to checkout, enter NL10, and get that 10% off discount.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool. Awesome. Well, Northern Lights, I'm excited to see people grow that. If you've got great pictures of your Northern Lights auto grow, send them in. We'd love to put them on the podcast. That's a fun pack of seeds to get growing.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Casey, thank you so much for coming in the studio today. As always, I cannot wait to see what you have in store for us next month.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me, Tanner.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
My history teacher was well, it started with a good friend of mine in the neighborhood I was living in. He was kind of a popular friend. I was not as well known. And he just was like, yo, we're going to call you Opie because of the Andy Griffith show. And he shared it with the teachers and everybody started calling me Opie and I hated it. The first 2 years. I hated it. To the point where people would call me what's wrong, Snuffleupagus tree? Opalopicus or Rumpelstiltskin. I'm just why am I getting mad about this? It's stupid. But now to this day, that's kind of what made On Point Opie,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I like that. The OP, the On Point itself.
Yeah. Well, because we were sitting there back in 2018, 2019 border, and we're just what are we going to call this company? And Heather's On Point.
So take me back to that. So 2018, you're looking at the oncoming hemp industry. You're looking at functional mushrooms. I mean, what was really that start for you to get you motivated to start a company?
It started with Heather working at Discover CBD as one of the employees at his 2 stores. I realized that the prices for hemp products it's $150 for CBD tincture, and I'm just okay.
Yeah, this was before the whole pump of biomass of 2020, 2021.
I was this is too expensive because there's a lot of people out there that can't afford their medicine it's not affordable.
Absolutely, especially with it not even being THC, but just CBD, where that is truly a functional medicine for people. It has a role, and it was like $200 for a little vial.
1,500 milligrams. That's when I launched the 5,000 milligram tincture with Doc Dabs back in the day, and we kept our price at $80, and they did pretty well. I still actually have that SKU, the CBG, the CBN, and the CBD 5,000 milligram, which is made from isolate, so it's friendly for everyone, because it doesn't have the full spectrum. But I wanted to start this because I wanted to, like, literally, why would anybody pay this much money for something that they don't know much about? A lot of people are thinking it's a placebo. The longest time people are like, oh, it's just another thing, just like, well, no, actually the endocannabinoid system, we've been knowing about this since, we used to feed a lot of our livestock with hemp, and anti-inflammatory issues were not a huge thing in the early 1900s. People were dying of like colds and da-da-da-da. Nowadays, it's just like people are so, the inflammatory is everybody has problems with that, then we take pills for it. Which, that definitely launched us off for that. It was just concerning because I was like, there's like a list of like 15 people back then. And I'm like, I was like, damn, am I going to get in trouble?
Yeah, looking around being like, I've got the cannabis leaf on my product. I'm telling people this has cannabis in it. I'm selling it and hoping for the best. Because this was really, really early days of legal hemp sales, not on the clothing or rope or that side, but on the, hey, here's cannabis for you to consume. It's going to impact your body. And this is legal.
Yeah, no, it was strange at first because it's like when you have, it was a big, huge list of people now. It's just like there's not just people looking at just 15 entities. They're looking at now a mass spectrum. There's a sea of distributors now and producers, and it kind of made me a little nervous, like I was being watched. But I realized I was doing something good in the community. A lot of people are starting to realize that, which is cool. I liked being part of like the beginning process. I wasn't a big player like Retro or
yeah, I mean, you had like Superior up in Duluth with our buddy. You had a couple other companies operating throughout Minnesota, but I agree with you. There was a lot of people growing for seed or fiber or maybe more on the industrial side. Not as many people that were cultivating those early days for the flower, for the cannabinoids.
Yeah, your friend Kurt
absolutely.
Who was actually, I was pretty much grabbing flower from him back in 2019. Me and a good friend of mine, Sarah Pena, helped me out meeting up with him, and he actually helped me push forward with my business along with Justin Stroud of 419.
Okay, yeah. Wow. See, and some of these names, shout out Kurt, but also 419 was one of those shops that I remember when they first opened. It was inside of a tobacco shop. You walked in and there was like a little corner. And I remember walking in for the first time and being like, these are pre-rolls of cannabis. There's jars of like grams that I can buy. and I'm just like looking around and I'm like, I'm on Lake Street. I don't know. Is this allowed?
The T2 strain.
Yeah. Yeah. That start of this entire thing. Like now it's crazy thinking about how we're on Payne Street right now. And there's probably 15 shops along here that sell some sort of cannabis product. And back in the day, you were one of 15 in maybe the state.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, it's funny too because like when our governor allowed cannabis sales everywhere, doing in sales, I'm at hair salons, nail salons. I was specifically going after hair and nail salons because I'm like, dude, where am I going to consume cannabis? Oh man,
yeah.
And it's like grocery stores. Now we're at movie theaters. Yeah, it's
cool having people from Colorado come to Minnesota and look around and be like, you guys sort of have weed everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we're not all the way there yet, but weed, I think, are so much more engulfed in, there's legal cannabis at basically every restaurant you go to. And that's fun. Not the normal in our country.
Ever since that happened, it's funny because a lot of my family members would refer it as like dope.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, it's just another plant, It's just cannabis. And honestly, it's no different than taking ibuprofen 800. Just another supplement.
So here's a question for you. You graduated from Hopkins, if I recall correctly.
Hopkins High School.
Yeah. So you went to high school with Tommy Thorpe from Granny's. You went to high school with Aaron Morrison of Superior. what was in the water of your guys' high school to lead to like the generation that's leading cannabis forward in Minnesota? Like you guys were all in social studies together, just like chilling out, not knowing that later on you'd be the one selling to breweries and liquor stores and distributors and all of that.
That's really funny because honestly, majority of I was an early user. I was prescribed ADD and diagnosed ADD, and I self helped myself out along with taking some of the medications. And it was just, it's funny because like we were stoned a lot of high school. Nothing fully wrong with that. I probably should have waited, but it was.
I think we legally have to say you're supposed to wait. But
supposed to wait.
Yeah.
I really wish we had the situation now because back then we were getting stuff that you never knew you were going to smoke. Some of the days I seriously feel like I was having heart palpitations. It was, you never know if it was laced or not.
Yeah.
But honestly, it was a lot of Hopkins High School. There's a lot of go-getters, honestly. A lot of classmates in my 09 class are doing a lot of really cool, big things. I'm just really happy to be somewhat a part of that. I didn't honestly know that this was going to happen. I mean, I didn't know this was going to turn into a career. A lot of people did speculate that they're like, oh, you know, Opie's worked with cannabis his whole life. He'll probably do that as a career and then potentially go to jail. And I'm like, oh, whatever.
Yeah. The most likely to end up in prison for distributing narcotics was you in high school. That was in the yearbook and everything. Yeah. No. I'm just kidding. No. But yeah, no, I agree with you where I think if you could go back and tell yourself, hey, you're going to be, you know, in the cannabis business, but you'll be paying taxes on that and you'll be like reporting it and you'll be really proud of this business that you're posting about on Instagram or on your website or whatever. And it's not something where you have to just know a guy to know a guy.
No, totally.
But it's about sharing this cool product that you're able to make.
It's just crazy because I really wish I can get some of that same skunky flower from
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
You don't have stuff that sticks to the walls or like you like have to like fry bacon in your apartment to like get rid of this THC smell in the entire hallway.
Yeah, the double bag inside of a bag and being like, I can still smell that, and just being like, this isn't cool.
Oh man!
But man, was that cool?
Like I'm talking like the reddest of reddest eyes. But yeah, I started with mushrooms in like 2016 after graduating from MCTC in 2015 with herbalism, yoga teaching, and welding, ceramics, Native American studies with Patricia Amo and Paul Red Elk, Rick Gretchick. And biggest passion is herbalism and fungi, but I realized that a lot of the city back in 2018, 2019, wasn't really fully ready for mushrooms yet. I keep having to explain it and explain. It's just like, it's hard to explain mushrooms and CBD products because still to the day, like back then it's like trying to explain CBN. People are just like, you explain it and you're like, I feel like it just goes out one ear out the other. You can
see their eyes glass over.
And I'm like, as I'm trying to explain this in some of these storefronts, they're just like, what? Let me rephrase it one more time. And I'm really happy that there's more people educating this. At first, when I saw all these companies doing, I'm like, competition, oh crap. But it's a good thing because honestly, it's having more people explain what processes are, and the growth of this industry is really important for our city, for our country.
Yeah, it's been an interesting shift to watch. Even over just the past couple of years, because I met you for the first time at a Canna Connect event. You were like, hey, functional mushrooms are the way to go. And I was like, this is new to me. I've not seen this really before integrated into the cannabis scene as directly as your products are. But you really, and the industry has come forward to show, cannabis is about finding products that help you to live your life in a way that you want to live it. And mushrooms really aren't that different. Sure, it's a different plant, different fungi, different organism, but the way that we are seeking to use it really isn't that different than cannabis. Tell me a little bit about some of the products that you have and I mean,
So
how do you talk to people about them?
We started with our orange infused and purple chocolate bars that have THC mushrooms collabed with it, with Gabriel of Loon Labs.
Yeah.
He helped me kind of launch my idea off into a real situation. Before that, I was just kind of co-packing with Clement with like maple candies, co-packing with Kurt for flowers. And then I finally was like, hey, let's try to do this mushroom gummies, which honestly, mushroom extracts with binding all these molecules together, we were having some hiccups. I finally figured it out. We have a very, very stable gummy. It actually doesn't taste bitter.
That's cool.
The flavors are really nice. These ones we're looking at right now is CBN with CBD, some reishi and chaga. Kind of helps relaxation. Referring to not the cannabis, but the mushrooms, because I don't want to make those claims, obviously.
Yeah, well, and let's, before we jump into this, let's throw this just pile of shit out. We live in a state of Minnesota right now where if you walked into a dispensary in another state and you said, hey, how is this product going to affect me? They'd be able to say, oh, this terpene profile has been shown to be energizing in most people. This has, mushrooms that studies show help with this.
Yep.
We're binded, like we're wearing handcuffs because as a cannabis product, a hemp-derived cannabis product in Minnesota, you're not allowed to describe it functioning or it altering the function, process, or any mechanism of the human body. Yep. So in essence, if you were to say, this is a gummy you can take at night, that's totally approved. But if you say, this is a gummy that will help you sleep, that would not be approved in Minnesota. So we live in this like weird in-between of, I see products oftentimes that have like nighttime blend on them, suggesting to the consumer exactly what you're supposed to use it for. But as a seller of a cannabis product, you're not supposed to actually, which is insane.
Have you ever taken CBN in the middle of the day?
Not successfully. I've definitely sampled a couple CBN gummies during the day, and like an hour or two later was like, oh man, my brain is going like half the speed. And
hey, some of us need us some days,
Yeah, totally. And it has its role. And that's what I think is cool, is being able to live in a state where we can try these cannabinoids. It's just silly that we live in a time where I can say I took CBN and it made me feel sleepy. But if I'm at a table selling you a product with CBN in it, I can't say that.
It's complicated.
Yeah. So, but putting that aside, talking about the mushrooms that are in that, tell me a little bit more about
100%
that indica blend.
fungi.
Yeah.
Essentially, I mean, chaga and reishi have been used in traditional Chinese medicine for many, 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 many generations.
Yeah.
And it's Ganoderma, reishi Ganoderma. Our skin is Ganoderma. We're very, very similar, related to this lovely fungi. Many different variants of reishi. I wanted to make essentially a supplemental product that people can, get a little stoned off of, and also get mental clarity, health and wellness, and, a potential aid for relaxation. The balanced one right here has functioning adaptogenics with turkey tail, maitake, cordyceps, and lion's mane, which I made this for a dear friend of mine who had Crohn's disease. Passed away not too long ago, David Roti, dear friend. It's actually what helped me start my, it's not necessarily a nonprofit, but me donating products to cancer patients to help them through their process with chemo. It's rough. But, and then our lion's mane cordyceps, energized gummy, which referring to cordyceps,
for sure.
Is, really helps with blood oxygen intake in your body. So taking a high dose of Cordyceps militaris and then running up a mountain in Colorado, you're going to be like, holy crap.
Yeah. And I have to say, so I've not really been a functional mushroom user until that day that I met you. And you're like, try this. And it was that orange chocolate. And I remember eating it and being like, yeah, that tastes pretty good. And thinking like, all right, 5 milligrams probably won't affect me a bunch. And it was maybe like 4 hours later when it's like 11:30 at night. And I'm like, man, I'm just feeling like I just sort of want to do stuff.
Production.
Like, I don't want to go to bed. I just want to go and clean. And just like that energy I had not felt from a cannabis product in an edible form ever before. It was really an interesting experience for me.
I lay all that reliability right onto the mushrooms.
Yeah.
They're great. And like honestly, in the Last of Us, we are warm-blooded. We're not cold-blooded. If we did have inklings of fungi, cordyceps going into warm-blooded creatures, we could be in potential problems. I mean, we could also like be completely parasitized.
Yeah, because that's sort of what we were talking about before this. Is I'm pretty certain that at some point between you graduating and going, I want to make weed products, to the moment that you were like, and mushroom products, you were taken over by cordyceps. It's just like somewhere in your central nervous system saying, we got to figure out how to put this into pectin.
Yeah.
And here we go.
I think I was parasitized when I was in the Pacific Northwest.
There we go. Yeah, that's fair.
We were out, me and my mom and my fiance, Heather, also a business owner and On Point. We have some family in Spokane, Washington. We go hang out up in northern Cali, and cordyceps over there are very prevalent. I mean, they're parasitizing lots of creatures out there, not just ants, but like caterpillars.
Wow. Yeah, it's
Bees,
some gnarly
tarantulas.
things to see. It's I think it's so cool, and there is some slight differentiation between the cordyceps that go into gummies and the ones that like are actively taking over ants, but they're pretty cool.
We are using Cordyceps militaris, which
Wow,
is,
all right. Yeah, so
which
that's the guy.
That's one that parasitizes caterpillars and such. Mind you, we have still yet to find any cordy's in Minnesota. They found traces in Michigan in the UP, but it's weird because like cordy's are everywhere. It's just, why haven't we found them in Minnesota yet? I've definitely been checking around for the past 10 plus years, and I've never seen any evidence. It's really fascinating though how a simple fungi can essentially get people or get insects to just completely take over their body. It's very fascinating.
Yeah.
Just really happy we're warm-blooded.
Yeah. You can eat it in a gummy. You don't have to have it take over your brain.
And nowadays there's a whole bunch of brands on Amazon and online. I'm not going to refer to their names because it's taking away from my business, but there's a whole bunch of drug supplements, and honestly just being very careful what you're consuming, because some products are made from essentially mycelium, which is not necessarily the worst situation, but if you're going to consume mushy products, I would say the best thing to do is using the actual fruiting body. I mean, you're not going to smoke the stem on your flower.
Exactly.
It's,
you're looking for the effects of the fruit. It's not going to be
it's strong.
Yeah.
But like I do some stuff with R&R cultivation, so they help me with a lot of getting my fungi to actually process it to make concentrates. But honestly, helping with them back in 2018, I wouldn't have known as much as I do with tissue cultures and cultivation in a lab setting, other than just outside forest floor, because it's new still, even though it's been around for generations. We still have no idea what's going on here. A lot of the most knowledgeable individuals are over in Japan and in China, who I don't know why we're so stuck on medications here and supporting a system that is taking our money away instead of actually fixing the problem, instead of putting the Band-Aid on.
And I think it rhymes so closely with cannabis, where for the longest time, the research on, or high quality research on cannabis wasn't taking place in America because it wasn't really allowed. And similarly, I think functional mushrooms, along with psychoactive mushrooms, have been so long pushed to the side of, that's creepy crawly plant things. We don't put that into our body. We eat like the pills because those are safe and from a sterile setting, without recognizing that actually probably the creepy crawly plant things are better for you than taking some white powder substance in a pill form.
I mean, in other countries, I mean, if you ever go to like Mexico or anywhere in Europe, I mean, it's pretty normal to be even eating bugs on the side of the street. Here, people get weirded out. It's we need to like step away from people thinking things are weird and just try it.
No, I'm gonna ask you to put fungi on a little spectrum. So I'm a vegetarian. I would say I don't really like to eat anything that has a face or a mother.
Oh, this is definitely alive.
Yeah, so that's from like we've got like vegetables over here that are like alive, but like probably don't scream when you cut them, at least not in the way that I can hear. You've got like sourdough that like you got to feed and like lives in your fridge.
Also a part of a fungi.
So can I tell people I'm a vegetarian if I eat your products? I'm just kidding.
It's complicated because honestly, with even research going on right now and finding out how plants communicate with each other, we're just like.
When I heard that plants can scream to each other, it really tore apart a lot of my like understanding as a person of like, oh wait, that thing might be feeling pain when I chop off its leaves and eat them. Oh,
100%. I mean,
shoot.
you could definitely see a huge difference when you go into a grow and you just like go in there with it, you just sing to them, you know, and everybody's pretty happy. And the same thing goes in mushroom farms. I mean, honestly, what I would always do is I'd play classical music while I was harvesting when I was working at that mushroom farm.
That's really cool.
I mean, it's calming for myself, but like I'm like literally taking these mushrooms off of a block with the blade, and I'm severing them into plastic totes, and we're gonna feed a lot of people in Minnesota through the Wedge, Trader Joe's, Lake Winds, just all the co-ops, and it's interesting because it's like, this is a living organism. It can't talk to me, but honestly, if we were able to speak to each other, I'm really curious what it would say to me.
Yeah.
Eat me, or like, please don't eat me. But same thing goes in the forest floor. When I'm walking around for morel season, even chanterelle season, they're all over. And they sometimes, if I find them underneath my feet, and even without even looking, they're just like, pick me. It's another way of them spreading their spores. Yes, but it's.
And that's what I want to get into right after a short break. We'll be right back. Attention all Minnesota cannabis lovers. Put down your joint, bong, vaporizer, or whatever else you're currently holding while you're listening to your favorite podcast, and mark your calendar for the second annual Doobie Dabbler Cannabis Festival, happening September 5th and 6th at Seavers Fall Festival Grounds in Shakopee. This 2-day festival is a cannabis lover's dream, featuring over 100 acres of vendors, artisans, industry pro seminars, live music, food trucks, and the wackiest and wildest activities your stoned imagination can come up with. Doobie Dabbler is the can't-miss cannabis party of the year. Come join thousands of your newest buddies in celebration of the ever-growing Minnesota cannabis culture at Seavers Fall Festival Grounds in Shakopee, September 5th and 6th for the 2025 Doobie Dabbler. Tickets and more available at doobiedabbler.com. Doobie Dabbler, Minnesota's great green get-together. Must be 21 years of age or older to attend. Powered by the teams behind Beer Dabbler, Barris Joy, and Hunt Atkins. All right, so not many people know this, but prior to working in the cannabis industry, I actually was a middle school teacher. I'm just kidding. I talk about that all the time. But over the pandemic, the state of Minnesota Department of Agriculture put together some really cool tours of different farms or greenhouses to show students, here's what a workplace looks like. I get you're not at a workplace right now, but this is what it looks like. And R&R Cultivation, who you mentioned earlier, was the mushroom farm sponsor. And they let the state come in and really preview what their grow rooms look like.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I highly recommend if people have never seen like what a mushroom farm looks like, go check that out. It's a really cool video. But you were talking about something entirely different than that, which is not the mushrooms that grow on a rack in a very sterile, clean, humidified environment, but outside in the state of Minnesota. We're coming up to the season where mushroom picking is really going to be fruitful. What are some of the things that you'll be looking for in Minnesota that others should not look for so they can leave it for you?
Honestly, just getting in the woods, touching the soil. Bring a thermometer with you. Make sure you bring a couple extra joints because you might be out there a little longer. But
maybe a pack of some energized gummies.
Yeah, and making sure you're safe away from ticks because and mosquitoes. But I typically do tree identification and plant identification and seeing kind of where mushrooms grow there's a certain like habitat for them. Last year we were really dry in spring. So I was looking for just like very small microbiomes, like underneath like leaves and such.
Yeah, trapped under a little.
Yeah, and it's.
pockets.
I mean, this year I'm fingers crossed we're going to be a little more wet this year, and I'm hoping that it's going to be very fruitful. But honestly, the mycelium is all underneath us. I mean, it's constantly stirring, and honestly, it was kind of strange last year because a lot of mushroom sightings were in people's gardens in Northeast, which was very, very bizarre. I mean, we went to a trip in Spokane, Washington for an entire week to go to burn sites. We found a couple 5-gallon buckets. It's usually way huge holes. Stopped through Missoula, Montana. I'm looking at a tulip garden. There's like 8 morels sitting right there. I'm just like, huh. Good friends like, wow, how did you just find that? And I'm like, well, they just like kind of just like were waving to me, Yeah. But it's really hard because honestly, I've had years where I've went to like Missouri for an entire 2 weeks, literally trying to find specific genuses of morels because there's multiple. And we go out there and I didn't find a single one. I mean, it happens. And some people, they get discouraged, but just keep going and keep hiking and getting yourself in nature, making sure you turn the music off and just listen because the trees are talking to you, the plants, the animals. You're in their habitat. And it's you're definitely welcome. The mushrooms want you to pick them, I feel like, but
yeah. So there's this great book that I read a while back that the whole premise of it was, are we domesticating plants or have plants domesticated us? Like we'll cut down acres and acres of trees just to grow more wheat. And man, it sure seems like wheat has domesticated us. Do you think you pick mushrooms because you independently want to go and pick that mushroom? Or do you think after years of just being taught by the mushrooms, hey, pick me, now you've been domesticated?
I think I'm here for the mushrooms.
Okay. All right. That's fair. That's super fair.
It's strange because it's like when you go into the hunt, it's so exhilarating to the point where I'll set my mushroom knife down and then I'll like, wait, where'd I put it? Like you just get so off track. That's like they always say in the Mycology Society, they always say to bring a tracker on you and to like drop a pin where your car is because you'll be hiking. And next thing you know, you thought you were walking north, but like, wait, where am I? If you don't know the woods. I mean, I've gotten lost a few times in some pretty interesting trails. Especially if you don't have any cell service. We were in the Ozarks, me and Heather, and that was pretty intense. It started raining really heavily and found a lot of fungi. But like I've been studying mushrooms for 15 plus years and I still see mushrooms on the forest floor. I have no idea what it is. I mean, I've seen it in the past. It definitely is in books, but there's not as much evidence or there's not as much information on it. Yes, you could eat a lot of the fungi in here in the Twin Cities. There's not many that are going to kill you, but some might give you gastrointestinal problems. I love chicken of the woods, but whenever I consume it, it gives me a gut ache the next day.
Okay,
or
totally.
Like I get gassy. Everybody's body is different with different fungi. It's weird because I have relatives who is allergic to Agaricus bisporus, which is the button mushroom. It's like the kind of slimy mushrooms you see in some traditional Chinese dishes. And when I present like oysters to him or lion's mane, they don't affect him so some fungi have different components to it, higher amounts of chitin or other chemicals in there. But it's kind of crazy because honestly, I feel like some of this fungi honestly puts defense mechanisms on themselves so they don't get eaten. But at the same time, it's like, do you want to be eaten? Do you not want to be? Like,
I want you to spread my spores, but maybe don't touch me. So I have a question for you. I think Minnesota is really ahead in terms of our understanding of minor cannabinoids. Like you go to places that have been legal for a decade and their understanding of CBG, CBN, some of the minor ones, isn't really as fleshed out and developed. I'd like to believe that Minnesota is sort of on the forefront of functional mushrooms just by having our hemp industry sort of grow up in the way that it has. Have you seen other state industries adapt to functional mushrooms? What has the reception been?
I want to say California and Oregon are pretty way more ahead of us because they honestly have a mushroom season for an entire almost 9 months.
Okay, yeah.
We have 3 months here to 4 months. Yes, our cannabis system here, the cannabinoids in Minnesota, I feel like we've been actually like pushing this and showing samples to other states. Now we have like New York offering cannabis at like potential movie theaters, which I'm just like, what? It's great. People should be able to buy cannabis anywhere. I remember 5 years down the road, you'd have to just go to a store, give them your ID, and I'm like, I don't know what you're doing with my information.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is the city doing with my driver's license? I don't know, but it's interesting because honestly, I even doing sales now, I go out of state and I try to explain other cannabinoids. People are like, what? I'm like, you guys have had cannabis way longer than Minnesota has, and we're rec, but it's still
it's
weird
wreckish. Yeah.
and it's I mean it's you go to most cannabis stores and they have just pure CBD, CBG, or CBN. Where are the other cannabinoids? Why aren't we actually educating more about this? Why are we just trying to get people super high and just like not? I mean, don't get me wrong. Getting really stoned is cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But the thing is, like, there's more to it. There's more to the plant. I mean, not just that. Like, don't throw away your leaves when you're doing trimming. Maybe throw them in the freezer, blanch them later, throw them in a smoothie. I mean, there's a whole bunch of vitamins and minerals.
Yeah.
And proteins.
I tried juicing cannabis leaves one time.
Yeah.
And it's
pretty bitter.
Strong. Yeah. Yeah. It's I would love to imagine that inside of that little green, dark, thick green beverage, there was probably a lot of really good stuff for me.
Oh yeah.
But oh man, that flavor.
I typically mix it with kale myself.
So every single person that I've told this story to went, "You drank it straight?" And I went, yeah, like I wanted to like try it, and they're like, I wouldn't do that.
We do kale and a bunch of genetics of tomatoes every year. Last year we did like 16 different variants of tomato plants on my side.
Love that.
And then I had my 2 pretty large bushes. I was doing some like roadkill and a couple skunk strains that we snagged seeds from Amsterdam. We took those leaves and we literally made kale chips with also cannabis, and you dehydrated those in the oven, and it was really tasty with a little bit of olive oil on there and some pink Himalayan sea salt.
See, and I could see that being so
that nice crunch.
Good. Yeah, like for so long in high school, my goal was, how can I make edibles that don't taste like weed? Like I just really want this to taste like a brownie, and now I'm high. And I feel like now that we have gummies everywhere that taste like everything but weed, it's sort of like now I'm sort of on the other end of, how can I take this trim that I have from growing and use this in a way that maybe I'd actually really enjoy? I don't like straight arugula, but in a salad, in a blend, it's really good. And I'd like to believe there's some role.
There was something special about having that green butter in the fridge back in the day.
Yeah.
You just like take a scoop out of it and you just smear it on your toast, and it's just like, I always like, I love focaccias and sourdoughs. So you just take that warmed green butter on top of a sourdough, and it just looked it looked kind of ominous, but it was super tasty and herbal.
Yeah, very herbal. Yeah,
very herbal.
And that's it took me a long time to have that flavor and not be like, oh, but
I mean, do you know of any brands that are having more herbal forward cannabis?
In fact, there were a couple in the early days. There was a live resin gummy, in fact, by our friends at Moonlight, that really had sort of like a terpy flavor to it. But I think the industry has sort of shifted towards, we want it to taste like blue raspberry or Baja Blast or whatever.
Yeah, I don't mind the bitterness. I mean, honestly, bitters are really good for our blood flow. So like, maybe we should start coming out with some more THC tasting edibles.
I wouldn't hate that. When we did our beverage, we added terpenes into it because I thought for so long beverages just don't really taste like weed. And I'd have people say, this gummy tastes like weed. And I'd be like, no, it fucking doesn't. Like you clearly don't know what that tastes like if you think that little bit of bitter aftertaste is, oh no, that's weed. It's like, well, maybe. Well, Opie, I got a question for you. As you're looking forward to the future of our industry, what is it that you're looking to find your role in? I think if we were to go back to 2018 and I said, what are you going to do in hemp? You probably wouldn't have pictured being the wholesaler, distributor, the guy who makes gummies and chocolates and beverages and all of that, showing the functional and the the applicable side of mushrooms and cannabis. What do you think is what's next for you?
I don't know. Honestly, to be fully honest,
That's
I'm
fair.
kind of
Yeah.
nervous about it. With cannabis taking over, it makes me. I just feel like it's a money game right now, and we're losing touch of why we all did this in the beginning. Why did we start our CBD companies? Obviously, we wanted cash. There's money in it, 100%. But the real reason is, I feel like a lot of us are doing this because we want to help out our fellow man next to us. We want to help out our neighbors, and the further and further I go into this corporate side of cannabis now, because it is getting very corporate.
Oh yeah.
I'm losing the touch of how does this make you feel?
Yeah.
I'm more like, hey, when can I get a paycheck from these stores? And it's like, it kills me because I'm just like, when I first started this, I was like constantly just like one-on-one conversations with a lot of clients, trying to just like, hey, how can I make this help you? I want you, like my grandparents even, like getting them off of taking ibuprofen 800s on a daily basis. How can I get you to start taking 5 milligrams of CBD with 2.5 milligrams of THC to maybe have you take ibuprofen maybe twice a week? I understand, carpal tunnel and being older and having muscle spasms, but that's literally why we're like, there's a lot of clinicals with some of these things helping with pain. And I'm just really hoping that when we move forward with this, people don't lose touch of what we did this for in the start.
Yeah.
It's money is evil as hell. I love it, but it's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. We can go back to, I remember being on a phone call, where they were debating, is D8 really good for our industry? And having, my buddy Sean Weber, say on the phone call, I can get people in medical need of cannabis this compound but much, much cheaper than what people are getting other products for. And is it perfect? No, but I'm here to help people find wellness in cannabis. And I wonder,
was crazy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. And I'm so curious to see what the mindset is coming into the next chapter of as we're creating a whole new slew of adult use products, making them available to people for the first time ever. I've never smoked weed before. This will be exciting, being able to go to a store and buy it.
Yeah.
it'll be different.
I have 20 milligrams of THC derived edibles without having other cannabinoids in there. It usually gives me anxiety. But when I mix the cannabinoids together, I feel pretty good with it.
Yeah.
Still to this day. And I eat a lot of THC edibles throughout the day, but honestly, I just wish, I really hope people don't forget about the other cannabinoids. I don't see it happening that way because honestly, hemp is huge. You go to Florida, you go to Illinois, there's still CBD stores all around the cannabis stores, completely different marketplaces. And I don't know.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see, especially with, I think the lay consumer just understanding this is a THC gummy. Yeah. That's what they walk away with. And yeah, I agree with you. I hope that that's not the future. I hope that that's the stepping stone to our potential future.
It's just, it's super interesting because like when we allowed liquor stores to start selling this stuff, I remember going to liquor stores literally the second day that they got offered, and everybody's like, I don't know if that's going to work. And now I'm like, some of these store owners, they're literally getting an entire wall of cannabis now. And I'm like, dude, you put your fist so far in your mouth.
Yeah. There was a great quote in the paper the other day by a liquor shop owner who said, yeah, THC has really cut down on my beer sales, but I make more money on THC, so
I like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's a lot of studies showing that a lot of younger adults are consuming cannabis instead of alcohol, and and that too going into also functioning fungus. People are starting to, just try things, and I'm excited for it.
I went to a party last week from some people that were a bit younger than me, but a housewarming party, and it was the first time that I showed up, and there was like one or two people drinking beer, and a lot of people with the THC seltzers, and it's like, I like this. I'm really happy with this. I think if that's the direction that we as a society move,
I feel like it's gonna make people a little happier. Honestly, I mean,
hope so.
alcohol is a depressant. It's it's not really. I mean, it's just kind of putting a Band-Aid on the internal situation. Like it's what America does, is put Band-Aids on things instead of actually fixing the problem, running it head on. Yeah, I was at a party not too long ago too, and I saw most people with THC products versus liquor, which I found to be, I was just like, wow. Usually like after 2:00 in the morning, this place is like rowdy as hell and everybody's screaming at each other. But now it's like everybody's just like passing out at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, there's a lot of laughing. And it's not terrible.
Our last bong show, we had people couldn't stay past 1 o'clock at the Hook and Ladder. It was super funny.
I love that. See, and that's so much better than it's 2 p.m. bar closed. You got people stumbling out. You know, I think cannabis is such a positive step forward.
I'm gonna go lay down instead. You know?
Right.
Instead of breaking things.
So on the beverage side, we talked about your gummies, we talked about the chocolates, but you've been drinking a root beer throughout this show. For people listening to the audio version, it's a really cool can.
This is a rooted
Tell me a
root
little bit
beer.
more about that.
It's a rooted brand. We're actually coming out with a couple new drinks here soon. It's very, very soon. It's essentially mixing roots with reishi and chaga. It's a collaboration with Earl Giles. They helped me make this idea together, and Dan Long helped me formulate it as well. We've had some success with this. It's definitely not your everyday root beer. It's more of a tonic. It's not bitter. It's more citrus forward, more orange forward. Yeah, it's been a crowd pleaser, honestly.
That's
it's
really
nice. Yeah, we're in the process of doing full print cans as well, which is it's scary, expensive, but I'm realizing this is going to be probably around the market for a while. Taking the sticker off and putting a full label.
There you go. I love that. You're not going anywhere. We'll be here.
And honestly, with the whole cannabis going in, I'm going to stay with mushrooms and hemp. I mean, I'll do some cannabis stuff with Sam Milstein, a partner of mine, but I don't want people to lose touch of the medicine side.
I dig it.
And that's why I'm like, people want to get high 100%, but there's also a lot of people that need the medicine.
Yeah.
Need, want, crave.
Well, and we're going to have a lot of towns that have dispensaries popping up, but we're going to have way more towns that don't, but that do have a liquor store that can't sell adult use products, but will continue selling hemp. We will still have a hemp state. So I think happy you're sticking around. That's for sure.
Look at Illinois. It's the same situation.
Yeah, absolutely. We're finding that the future is this coexistence of multiple different cannabis industries all sort of being in this bubble together, which makes sense.
Good, honestly. Yeah. I'm seeing people at some events that I would never ever think would ever use cannabis ever, and they're using it because they're doing it. So why not? I try it.
Yeah.
And I'm just happy we're pushed out the THCO, the THCP, all those other cannabinoids that are literally sending people into chaos. They're like, I'm never eating edibles again. I literally had cold hot sweats all night. I saw tunnel vision. It's just like, oh man, you're consuming the wrong cannabinoids.
Yeah, it's like just because the plant produces it doesn't mean you want to eat it. I love eating apples. I'm not gonna like take their seeds and then extract the arsenic out of it and be like, wow, this is great. No, I'm gonna focus on the good part.
I mean, let me rephrase, not necessarily the wrong cannabinoids. Those are totally fine, but it's just not for beginner users.
And not in an isolate form at high strength day one. Like it's part of the blend. Add it to the entourage.
I want to say I was at a tobacco store and this older lady comes in. I'm talking like my grandma's mom's age, like way much so older lady. I even opened the door for her, helped her get out of her car, and she was just like, I need to sleep. So she comes in, goes to this place, and the dude gives her torch THCP gummies that were like 8,000 milligrams. And she walks away just happy as a clam in the store. I'm like, dude, you're going to kill her. And he's just like, she wanted THC. I'm like,
Yep. We've come a long way, but we've got a long way left to go. That's for sure.
We do. Honestly, it's, the thing is with the OCM, making people hold themselves accountable. This is important. I mean, at first I was a little nervous, because I'm going to have to bend backwards, but I've been bending backwards for a long time.
Yeah.
With all this.
Yeah. That's what we do in the cannabis industry, right?
adapt.
Stand on one foot. And
Just
you
like
adapt
fungi.
And, yeah, fair enough. Well, so now comes the part of our show where we're going to ask you, what do you have to shout out? I mean, do you have where people want to follow along with you, see you at an event, connect with you online? Where would you send people?
There is a lot of huge events happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's coming up to a pretty busy time of the year for our community.
If we could just have a little more snowfall and maybe relive April again, so we don't have to or I mean, I should say March again, so we don't have to jump right. But it's Hook and Ladders having their Morale Fest. It's gonna be really cool. It's their 7th year. There's, oh my gosh, we're doing some mushroom classes. The Mushroom Block, Tony's doing some stuff. Courtney from Mycosymbiote is doing some really cool stuff as well. They actually have classes where they teach you how to cultivate in-house grows. I mean, you could do this in your basement. Mm-hmm. Actually, better yet, you could do this out of a mono tub. Super small tub. No one has to know. No smells, no funk. It's not like kombucha where you have fruit flies flying around if you keep your habitat clean.
Yeah.
All you need is literally just a couple fans, a foggy spray machine, and a foggy frogger machine, and you could grow whatever fungi you want. And a lot of fungi are really easy. I mean, cannabis you have to grow for a long period of time. From inoculation to pin sets to full growth of Pleurotus australis, a blue oyster, I mean, I could see fruiting bodies within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And honestly, working with R&R, we were trying to figure out how to stop food deserts in certain environments. I'm getting off topic, but anyways, mushrooms.
But I think it's so cool, and it really shows that the way that we're thinking about how cannabis and mushrooms can impact our body isn't just down to our actual chemical processing system, but it can really change how we look at the world. We can turn the places that mushrooms can grow and the environments that it can grow in. If you think growing cannabis is easy, mushrooms are made to be the recyclers of our world.
I mean, they're breaking down parts of Chernobyl right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're finding out that we're finding mushrooms growing. This is very new evidence.
Yeah,
they're growing on plastics.
Yeah.
Super small. There's a book writer who wrote Entangled Life. Highly recommend reading this book. Get it on podcast, read it, whatever way you take knowledge in. But this guy is coming up with some crazy. He's found some evidence of plastics being broken down by fungi, which is it's revolutionary.
Yeah. Yeah, the Chernobyl one is interesting as well.
That's
We're seeing
crazy.
them react to the uranium and grow towards it. And,
Well, because it's a food source.
yeah. I'm excited for your gummies to come out that have the Chernobyl mushroom in them. I'm just kidding.
Some bioluminescent gummies.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Opie, truly, thank you so much for coming in the studio. I love chatting with you every single time, both in front of the camera and just out. Of
course.
So I'm excited to have you back again in the future, and we'll see where our industry's at in a year. And
I think it's gonna be good.
Keep talking about mushrooms.
I think it's gonna be fun. Honestly, everybody stick through it. Every one of you guys, consumers, keep consuming. Thank you very much. Buy local.
Yeah.
People out of state, I mean, you're welcome, but work with us, man. Please don't push us out.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in. We'll be right back. Shout out Opie. Well, thanks for that great interview. That was a good one. Guys, it's time for the wrap up of our episode. It's time for the part that everyone calls in and says, guys, do it more. The high note. The end part. The fun part where we get to say, what were we thinking about this week?
And the OGs that stick around to listen to this part of the show, we do appreciate the folks that stay for the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen some of those foods at Target Field or the St. Paul Saints? That's going to be my high note. The St. Paul Saints have a land of 10,000 calories snack that's shared by up to 4 people.
I was going to say, does it come with a wheelchair too?
And there was a group of boys, 4 boys. They ordered 2. They ordered the land of 20,000 calories for the opening day at the St. Paul Saints game. And you got to see this photo. I'm going to send it to you. If you wouldn't mind just putting it in right here. These boys are eating. They are stacked.
That's incredible.
Is it like a one long tray?
Yeah, it's got jalapeno poppers on it. It's got nachos on it. It is just it's a buffet.
It's a smorgasbord.
It is. It is. Exactly.
Okay.
10,000 calories. I want to say it goes for at least $50. It's a big yeah, no, it's a ballpark meal.
And it's terrible. It only has 5 milligrams in it. No, I'm just kidding. Wow. I would eat that though. That
It'd be fun.
yeah, it'd be an experience. And then I feel like then I would spend the whole rest of the game like just sitting like this.
Baseball? What baseball? Yeah. I've gone blind.
St. Paul Saints games are really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can actually find Tanner at an upcoming St. Paul Saints game. I'm going to the one over Memorial Day weekend. It's food truck night, so they bring all the food trucks out on the field.
Literally.
You can go out and just eat at food trucks.
I feel like a food truck would be a terrible outfielder, though.
Yeah, it's not good at catching, but
it gets hot.
I like that. Okay, yeah.
now, have you tried the 10,000 count?
Haven't been to a game yet.
Okay.
Would be down. I like to go around my birthday. I like to go in June.
Okay.
St. Paul Saints, fun atmosphere. And if I had a couple of guys, we could definitely do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Share the load, Mr. Frodo.
What do you got for us, J-Man?
I've been thinking back here, and I haven't come up with anything.
It's all right.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm let's move to Tanner, and something will hit me. I guarantee. Well, no, it's more like I gotta pick. I gotta choose. Which
That's
one
so
yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
So I've been fighting for the longest time for pickled flavored gummies, beverages, whatever. I really want the THC pickle products. And I, at multiple companies that I have worked at, have received significant pushback saying, no, we don't want that. As Minnesotans, we don't need pickled flavored products. And I just want people to pause and consider for a minute the possibilities.
Yeah.
We could have the wonderful vinegary flavor that comes along with pickles, that like light, freshing little bit of cucumber
Yeah.
in a gummy form along with 5 milligrams of THC, or in a shot with 10 milligrams of THC. And I think that would be an incredible product. I think that's one that people would bring to the state fair and go, wow, this is really fun. I think it's one they'd bring to the ballpark and go, wow, this is really fun.
Yeah.
I think it's one people would buy for novelty, but also for pleasure. And I just want people to write in and support me in this. This isn't really like a call to action, but more of just like a...
Give us your best pickle edible idea.
Yeah. Should it have a sour coating on the outside? Should it be part of a package where it's like a multi-flavor gummy pack where there's also like a bread and a meat and a cheese and a ketchup gummy?
Right.
So it's like a whole burger. Like, I don't know. But I do know that a pickle gummy needs to be made. I need to not receive as much pushback from people. And if you agree, write in.
Find a brewery.
Yeah. Thank you.
This sounds like a collab coming right at the tail end of August.
I would absolutely collaborate. If anyone wants to use our branding, our whatever, you can have it. Just make the pickle product, because I've been fighting for this for a while. I've asked multiple people.
Yeah.
I've brought it up at Canna Connect panels. I keep talking about it, and everyone just looks at me and goes, I don't know. And I do know.
Yes. You're only crazy until it happens.
You're only crazy until it happens. This is the Facebook of 2025. This could be the idea that blows up.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Bring your ideas to Tanner. Text him, email him. Yeah. Get on Tanner's calendar.
Yeah. So There is one place in Minnesota that does make pickled THC gummies.
They do?
Shout out Clown Glass.
Really?
Yep.
I just drove by there yesterday.
Yep. Yeah, was able to find some there, but I still feel like there needs to be more, and
It's just not being presented right.
not presented right and not presented enough. Should it be pickle shaped? I think.
I think
Get the
it-
cubes out of here.
I think I know where you're going with the sour coating.
yeah.
Because Tanner's trying to get us to believe that pickle doesn't have like a tang to it.
I like it.
It's like if you sour it up before, he's going to like try to pull one past you that it's sweet in a sense.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. It's gonna be so good, and
Citrus pickle.
But it's really for the vegetarians.
it is for the vegetarians. There's just too many meat flavored gummies out there, and I just want my pickled flavored gummies. That's all.
I prefer the ribeye versus the New York strip.
Oh yeah,
gummies.
you know all those guys making USDA certified cannabis beef jerky.
grass fed.
Yeah. Specifically, OCM would not approve of that.
No, that's not an option.
All right, Jordan, we've given you some time.
Yep.
You've thought about the pickled gummies. You also agree they're a good idea. But what is your high note for this week?
My high note is I during the winter obviously don't spend a whole lot of time outside. It's cold. But now as the weather is warming up, I find myself going back and spending more time in the garage. I'm just a classic garage guy.
Yes.
And even if there's nothing to do out there, like if I've got free time, I'll find something to do out there.
I like it.
You just you roll a joint, you pack a bong, you do whatever you got to do, and then all of a sudden you're like stock wood like arsenal is all of a sudden organized, and then that headache that's been sitting on you for like 6 months is like, oh, that's no longer a thing.
Are you more of a 10 by 10 or a 20 by 10 or 10 by 20? What kind of garage setup?
I think you'd call it like a 2.5. Yeah, I think it's
Wow.
26 by 20.
Let's call it a 2.4
All right.
for Kobe.
There we go. There, 2.4. Shout out Kobe.
Yep. But yeah, that's like my
Sobe?
little Sobe.
Dude, I love that you're spending time in the garage. I gotta
It's you know, the TV out in the garage as a child, that was a luxury. You never saw that. And now like my dad in his mid 60s just has installed a TV out in the garage, and I'm like, I've already got a TV in my garage. Is that what parents mean by like we want our children to go forward and do better than we did? I think that's what they're referring to as garage TVs.
American dream.
Here we are with my camping chair, my mostly smoked joint, and TV.
You know what that is?
The American dream.
Big deck energy.
Big deck energy. Indeed it is. For international listeners of the show, they need to know that is peak America, is being able to say, my parents didn't have a TV in their garage, but I do.
If you've got a leftover like college dorm room fridge, though, I'd take one of those.
Okay.
I don't need to spend money on it, but if all of a sudden something just like got dropped off at Seed and Sesh, and
You're talking about like one of those like terp fridges, right?
terp fridge. I think people, most people use them for terps. I think other people will throw food like vegetables. I think.
Gross.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boy, do
I feel like that would
have
ruin the smell of the
fridge
terp.
for you.
And how?
Let's get my garage to talk to your garage.
I'll have my garage call your garage.
And I've got a throwback old school fridge from like the 60s, maybe that 70s show.
Wow, yeah.
That I inherited from the previous owner of our garage.
It was just leftover, huh?
I've got a bonus. I got a bonus for Jordan.
All right.
Heyo.
We get you that. We get you the Northern Lights neon sign. You've
Yep.
got a man cave.
Yep. It's ready. It's gonna get so dusty in there, but boy, oh boy, that's the workshop. That's Santa's workshop.
This is the thing I needed to clean my garage.
Here we go. See, and this is perfect for everyone.
One man's fridge is another man's new fridge.
You're going to fit so many terps in there.
All the terps.
At least 4 jars.
You got to keep hooking me up with canisters you don't like.
We got you.
Thank you.
Too many.
Big facts.
All right, guys. Well, that's all we got for this week. Those were good high notes. I like that. That was a fun end to it.
Yeah.
Shout out Opie for coming on the show, sharing his expertise,
On point.
experiences.
Look for On Point at all these upcoming events.
Yeah. I know it was funny being like, so what are you doing in April? And he's like, do you want me to list it all?
Opie's hiring, by the way. He's
Oh, all
looking
right.
for an event assistant. So
See, and he didn't say that on the show.
he's
Fuck you, Opie.
but
No, just
but we
kidding.
got him. Opie, I love you. Heather, Opie, we love you.
Yeah.
Event assistant, look for it from On Point.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Yeah, that was a good one. Good news. Thanks for the game. That was a really fun one.
My pleasure. I'll see what other sweet combustions can happen up in this here noggin.
Thanks to Tori for being here today.
Yeah, shout out Tori. Oh yeah.
I was gonna do the cheer, but we got enough cheer out.
Oh yeah. We'll do it ourselves. Yeah. Woot.
Well,
all right, y'all.
3 cheers for the Northern Lights.
Yeah, 3 cheers for Northern Lights. Share with a friend, a family member, a stranger. If you talked to someone recently about starting a cannabis business with them, tell them about Northern Lights. Have you fought with someone recently? Maybe they said, "Hey, you're not eating enough gummies." Well, tell them about Northern Lights.
That's right.
Yeah. You can tell them about our Reddit account or our LinkedIn account, our YouTube account.
Yeah. Follow us on Instagram.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Zanga.
Yeah. Or our most recent new host, the Pirate Bay. Find us on the Pirate Bay. We're really proud to be there as well.
Or put us on the Pirate Bay.
Yeah, we don't care. Do whatever. All right, guys, that's all we got for today. We'll see you all again next week. Thanks for joining, guys. Northern Lights is a Minnesota Cannabis College production. This episode was produced by me, Tanner Barris, and by Steve Eigenman and Jordan With. Production assistance from Marcus Harkis, Shayna Payton, and John Barty. Video and audio recording at the Dabbler Depot Studio by Jordan With. The information provided in this podcast does not, and is not intended to, constitute legal advice, but is instead for general information purposes only. No listener should act solely on the basis of information provided without first seeking advice from their own legal counsel. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Minnesota Cannabis College. Please listen responsibly.